coffee. And hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
I'll look a little more coffee before we get started here. Very important. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Will you look at that? Oh, good morning, people of Earth, America, Canada, and a few other countries that bother listening in. It is, what is it? It's Thursday. Just the whole Monday holiday is throwing everything off. It's Thursday, December 28th, 2023. Kind of a flood day here in New York, in Long Island, New York, where I am. Went out this morning to take the trash out. Because Monday is a trash day, and next Monday is a trash day. If I don't take the trash out today, it won't go out until next Thursday, and it's been since last Thursday. So why am I telling you? Well, when I stepped out the door this morning at 7 o'clock to take the trash out, there was about 5 inches of water everywhere. I was basically treading through a small canal. It is let up a little bit, but not a lot. And so we're getting actually floods coming down the hills. Days like this, I worry about my basement, things like that. Anyway, I hope it's a better day where you are. The bright side of this is global warming is definitely serving me today, because if that rain were snow, they say that every inch of rain is a foot of snow. I'd have 5.5, 6 feet of snow to be digging out of today. So it's about 52 degrees, warm, unseasonably warm, I guess it is here. I hope it's a better day where you are. And listen, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying there is a bright side to this, that bright side to global warming, that I don't have to shovel. And that's all that's important, right? Is that I don't have to shovel. Last night, well, first of all, yesterday we had a recap of the year, and we were recapping some of the celebrity deaths. A little premature. Tommy Smothers passed away yesterday. Got that news right after the show. Tommy Smothers, great voice of, the political left during the 60s, anti-war stuff, anti-Vietnam war stuff, folk singer. Of course, a lot of people don't realize that folk music was generally always about people on the left, the left's voice. Country music was the right, and folk music was the left. And somehow Johnny Cash and Bob Dylan were able to kind of get them the fuck, and then they became like synonymous, and people really can't tell the difference between country music and folk music to a large extent. I can tell you the difference is basically country music wants to shoot beer cans. That's basically the difference. Anyway, we have a strange show for you today. Later on, Jack Decker, the states' rights guy, will be with us in 10 o'clock hour. Jack was scheduled for last week. We went through his entire plan for states' rights. I don't know if he's trying to get elected, who he's trying to pitch this thing to. But my initial reaction to his idea was that it's the worst idea I've ever heard, political idea. and I still think that's true. But I figured it's worth giving him a shot to explain some of the stuff that I was ripping him up on last time. He did not show up. Well, not that he didn't show up. He didn't show up here. He went to Podmatch, which is a site he found me on, and sat there waiting. Instead of reading his email and clicking a link, he waited there for magic. Magic. Where's the guy? I don't see the guy. The guy being me. So hopefully this time he checked his email. I know he checked his email. He responded to me that he checked his email. So we're expecting to let him speak his mind about states' rights. Oddly enough, Nikki Haley, who is a presidential candidate, was asked last night the reason for the Civil War. Well, it was on about states' rights, the right to own people. She didn't want to answer that. And she said, "Well, it was about how we govern." Yeah, and she do. Now, Nikki Haley was the governor of South Carolina, the very first state to secede from the Union, and in the very first line in their Declaration of Secession or Articles of Secession, it says that the main reason that they're doing this is because the North won't embrace slavery, anti-slavery, the North's anti-slavery position, and won't accept the right of slave states. This all comes back to states' rights. The other thing I want to ask Jack about is his support or lack thereof of the Colorado court decision to not allow Trump on the ballot uh, in their state. Now, that is a states' rights issue, and as much as I don't like Donald Trump, I am against that. I think I'm definitely for enforcing the 14th Amendment and keeping people who were involved in an insurrection off of any ballot. But I think it needs to be done at the federal level, not at the state level. But we'll see. I want to see if there's any hypocrisy there because he seemed like I don't want to. I don't want to, but I'm gonna presume that he's a far right guy. And if he's a far right guy, then he probably opposed to Donald Trump not being on the ballot in Colorado. But it's a states' rights issue, something he is fighting for. So it will be interesting to see if there's any hypocrisy there. Willie is MIA at the moment. But I'll bring in GD for now, and we'll see what happens with Willie if and when he gets back in his seat. Good morning, GD.
Good morning, Mind Dog Coffee. Put up the good fight for your constitution and your colon. Mind Dog Coffee.
Wow. Good fight for the colon, eh? Good fight for the colon.
Yes.
I don't know. Does the colon need fighting for? The colon needs loosening up.
It needs love. It needs love.
It needs love.
It needs love.
You see my sign behind my head there? It's a little too bright. The lights are a little too bright.
On air, Mind Dog TV.
Yeah, it's a little too bright for. I can't dim it any more than that. It's coming through, but it's a gift, and I don't know who sent me that gift. Let's bring Willie.
It may have been my stepson because, oddly enough, he sent me. Here it is. He sent me this.
He sent you that. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Now, why would he send me anything? Does he even know I exist?
Of course he does. All I do is talk about you all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I called him last night around 3 o'clock in the morning, well, this morning around 3 a.m., just to talk about you.
Wow, I would have shot you. Even if you called me to talk about me, I would have shot you.
Yeah, well, I used to call him and talk about Willie, but Willie's has gotten too big for me. I can't.
Willie is huge.
He's just blown up. He's just blown up.
He's huge. He's huge.
Yeah, he's just blown up.
Kelly sent me a clip of Will doing Jewel Foolish Games last night. He looks like he's gonna cry. He definitely looks like he's gonna cry. I know he doesn't see himself as looking like he's gonna cry, but he definitely gets very emotional about this stuff.
No, Willie. Now, I don't know if Willie is talking, but he's moving his lips. There's no sound coming out.
No sound again. Nope. We just tested it before. I told you not to touch anything. You touched stuff, didn't you? Like a child. I told you not to touch stuff, and you touch stuff. You can hear us. Well, anyway, you get to look at Willie. You won't be able to hear him. He probably doesn't have a whole lot to add to the states' rights stuff we're going to be talking about later. But it would be nice to have him audible at this point. GD, did you notice the Nikki Haley stuff? I know you follow politics, but you don't get the up to the minute feed that you get on Twitter because you're not on Twitter, or are you on Twitter?
I have 3 Twitter accounts. I do not pay attention to them anymore. I stopped pretty much once. What's that guy who bought it? Dickwad Muskie. Yeah, once he bought it,
he's got a musky smell to him.
Yeah, I just no.
So
stop caring.
So the question, though, that you heard about the Nikki Haley comments, did you see any of that clip?
Not until just now. I mean, just what you presented, just what you represented.
Yeah, so she's at a town hall, and somebody asked her the reason for the Civil War, and she said, "Well, it was about how we govern." And she said, "Well, what do you want me to say?" He said, "Was it about slavery? What do you want me to say about slavery? Let's move on." And so she was refusing to answer that very simple question. Now, she was the governor of a state, the very first state to secede, and the very first line in the Articles of Secession say it's about slavery. If she couldn't name that, probably wasn't a very effective governor of not knowing what her state's history was. But now, of course, that has triggered a firestorm of people on the left going up to Southern Republicans and saying, what was the Civil War fought over? And there's one guy from Georgia this morning. He's running for a state office. There's a clip of him, and they said, what was the reason for the Civil War? He said, I haven't studied it. We all need to study our history. We all need to study our history. What was the reason? I haven't studied that. So it's just odd that they can't even bring themselves to say a simple truth that we all know. It's very, I don't know.
But they don't want to talk about it, but they're willing to change the history of it. Even not wanting to call it slavery, calling the Atlantic Triangle trade.
Right.
Just all kinds of craziness. I'm willing to forget slavery if they're just willing to just be honest about it.
You got nothing, Willie. Not even nothing. It sounds like we got nothing. Not even a buzz, hum, nothing. It's like a child. I told him not to touch anything. It was working. It took like 3 minutes. Did you touch? Well, you had to touch something. You had to change the setting. Why don't you go out and come? No, that won't work. How about you? Try probably in your StreamYard settings. No, StreamYard settings. Every day we have to go through technical issues to get started. And it takes like 20 minutes of the show away. Good morning, all the people in the chat rooms.
Maybe we should start the show 20 minutes early just so that Willie can hit the ground running, and then at 9 o'clock we can introduce.
I did. He was here early. We tested the and I told him not to touch anything because it sounded fine. Anyway, yeah. So I'm interested. Ooh, I'm dropping letters here. Interested in seeing how this Jack Decker guy deals with that question about the Civil War and states' rights as it pertains to slavery, and also the Trump stuff. Now, Michigan yesterday, their court said that Trump can stay on the primary ballot, but they're not making any promises for the general election. So they'll let him stay on the GOP.
But that's a procedural thing in Michigan, and it was the same thing in a couple of other states. It was their Supreme Courts wouldn't even hear the cases because it's like a procedural thing. It wasn't a matter of whether or not he should be on it. It was just a matter of they said we can't hear this case.
Right now, but for the sake of consistency, now I'm assuming you're not a big states' rights guy. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think states' rights is bullshit.
Well, that's paraphrasing what I just said, but yeah,
See,
and
it's not that I am for or against anything. I'm for or against the way it's used.
right. The
See,
abortion stuff is
yeah,
front and center now for
right. It's
states'
just
rights.
yeah. So it's just the way it's being used. It's like I'm not for or against fire. You know, if you're using fire to warm my home and cook my food, I like it. If you're using fire to burn a cross on my front yard, I'm against it.
Yeah. Is well sponsored by Gas Monkey now. No, we can't hear you. I think you should reboot and start again.
I think you should return to your mother's womb and start all over.
Yes. Yeah. Be reborn. Well, you can all you want. We can't hear the joke.
Well, we can always insert what we think he said.
No, yeah.
I think he said, I'd like to return there. That was the best place ever.
It behooves you to get your audio working because if not, GD's just gonna ruin every bit of comedy that you have. You say something that you think is funny, and then
That's
GD
right.
is gonna put in something not funny
That's
for
right.
you.
That's
So you better get it fixed in a hurry.
Carl says this is the funniest Will has been in months.
Yeah. Yeah. So
we're gonna call him Harpo. We're gonna start calling him Harpo Conway.
Yeah. I got an inkling this morning to want to start the show as Misinfo Wars. Misinfo Wars. Well, let me take you out. I'm gonna just take you out for a second and show you what I'm talking about. It's kind of like this, and I'm sorry, get this and not that one. I got the wrong background in there, and this, and maybe I'll go with this layout, right? Where is it? I had it all set up here. We thought we had it all set up. Not this one. Oh, I'm just changing background here. That's what I'm doing. I'm staying with this, but changing this to this. And then you could do the welcome to Misinfo Wars. I'm Alex P. Jones. Of course, the penis stands for penis can. My guest today will be RFQ. We're going to talk about monkeypox. We're going to talk about his Uncle John's penis. I believe his Uncle John had a very big penis, but he drank a lot of Coke. And now maybe his kids don't. Well, actually, you don't have any more boys. So if we're probably going to have really small penis anyway. So that would be my InfoWars, MisInfoWars type. The opinions expressed on this. Again, I'm screwing everything up here. This one. Anyway, where are you? You're there.
Oh, where I went. When you said Misinfo Wars, I thought it was going to be like a beauty pageant where you have like these, like Kellyanne Conway.
Why can't I add you out? So no, that's that. And man, everything's all screwed up. Technically, we're all screwed up. Misinfo Wars. There you go. Willie's back. We'll see now. We should have this on mybookie.com. Want to take bets on whether Willie actually has audio. I'm laying odds 2-1 against. Let's see. Check.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
And I can hear you.
You have a little bit of sound. Yeah, a little. I'll take care of it on here. Don't touch anything. I'll take care of the noise reduction here and see if we can.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Willie, while we're waiting for that to happen.
Go ahead.
What's a gas monkey and why are you spending so much money with them?
Okay, so I'm not. A gas monkey is a show. They do like custom work, like auto work and stuff like that, and I think they do bikes also. I don't know. I don't really watch the show. I thought they looked.
You said
cool.
You think they do bikes, but the logo
has
a bike
combo.
on it.
It was a combo available together at Walmart for like $2 years ago. Maybe even 3 years ago. And, there you go.
Okay,
it's Walmart. It's a Walmart.
I hope they do motorcycles because that's right in the middle of their logo.
The show.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was a
watch the show. I hope my hair looks that cool as I get older. And that's about all I can say about Gas Monkey. Really? Because
I
the
don't
guy
even.
has nice hair.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about Gas Monkey.
Me
Uh,
either.
yeah, not a thing.
That's the thing. Hey, I don't know if you noticed this, but like they have a bunch of videos, and this would be something I would totally love to do. They go up to somebody who's wearing like an AC/DC t-shirt, and they ask them to name like 5 of their songs. Like whatever, if you're wearing a Megadeth t-shirt, name 5 of their songs. They want to see if people are like really fans of the things they're wearing. Like this right here, you would assume that I'm a fan of the show Gas Monkey. I don't know shit about that show. I
I
couldn't,
hear you.
yeah,
I hate
I did
that
that in
when
general
I'm wearing a
conversation.
T-shirt. Well, I'm wearing a T-shirt. I don't even know what it says on it, and somebody comes
yeah.
up to me and wants to talk about it. Like, oh, I didn't even realize that's what I was wearing
That's a
today.
guy thing. That's a guy thing, and it starts in early childhood.
So you're saying I'm a guy?
Oh yeah. That's a guy thing. You
All
can
right.
you can grab a 2-year-old boy and or a 3-year-old boy and a 3-year-old girl. That's a good time when they have language skills,
Right.
and you can ask them both. Say, don't look down. Close your eyes. What are you wearing? The girl can tell you the earrings, the everything that she's wearing, the color, why it matches. The boy will say clothes.
Whoa.
I conducted that experiment for years, as you know,
Yeah,
as
GD
a
is known for running around and grabbing children.
And
oh yeah,
asking little
yeah,
kids what they're
yes,
wearing.
yes, I will
What are
do
you,
that.
what are you
What are
wearing?
you wearing?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I say it, and I
real
say it in
suspicious
the
right now, GD. I just
and,
looked
and
at
I say it
you.
in the creepiest way possible. Tell me, little girl, what
Wow,
are you wearing?
wow.
Hey,
What?
little boy,
Jesus.
what are you wearing? Close your
Right.
eyes and tell Uncle GD what you're wearing. Yep, I did that. I did that research for years.
This is
Little
gonna be
girls.
this is
Yeah.
gonna be in a reel, and it's not gonna be a flattering reel. Uh, I haven't done
I'm
any
not. I was gonna
reels.
say, are you doing the reels or AI doing it? Because if
Why,
AI is doing it,
yeah,
it's going
why
to get it
GD is
wrong.
afraid of Chris Hansen? Is that what the reel is going to be titled?
There is a mix of me doing reels and AI. Most of them are done by AI. Every once in a while, if somebody says something that I think should be in a reel, and I feel like AI is just not going to do it
Right.
justice, I will go in and edit one.
Because
And the
AI
AI
sees
generally doesn't ever do it really justice, but
no. Because there were so many things that we've had, like we've broken up laughing over that I thought that would be a great reel. And I know AI is not going to touch it because AI tries to do things that's non-offensive and middle of the road. They just, I don't know
I
if you
think
can
different.
program it to.
I wouldn't say that's absolutely true. I think the Opus clips, the one that I use most often, that probably is true about. But there, you can get AI stuff that is more conducive to looking for the funny. It just doesn't really know funny yet, uh, but it's learning.
So
It's like
like
it's
me.
like you. It
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
know
like
anything
me.
about comedy,
Doesn't know anything about comedy.
right?
So I think AI and I should take the same course. I think once they get AI, once they teach AI what funny is, I will learn from AI.
Well, let me tell you that last week there was a clip from a show that I did like 2 months ago with the woman. The story was the woman had a food show. Food Network came in to highlight a thing on her show. Her chef didn't show up, so she called her husband and said, "You got to fill in for the
Right.
chef. The Food Network's coming." Then she discovered watching the show that her husband was actually abusing her. She never realized it until she saw it
Right.
on videotape. Anyway, she went through that. The husband ended up killing himself in front of the kids. AI takes a clip about that where she's talking about she discovered her husband's gambling stuff. He was yelling at her for spending $50 on their daughter when he blew $60,000 on gambling on that weekend. But it was how do you tell that story in 51 seconds? It was a 51-second clip that AI just took out of all that. And she
Well,
talked.
you convert it to Hebrew and you leave out the vowels.
Well, anyway, so she just talks about discovering her husband's gambling debt and him freaking out over $50. And people in the YouTube comments just went crazy. First of all, the thing got like 5,000 hits, 5,000 views in an hour, and lots and lots of comments. And people were commenting on how it's irresponsible. This woman, she never had no business. She don't know nothing about no business. She can't run a business. She don't know her own finances. And what a terrible mother she is, and what an irresponsible person. And I'm just like trying to saying, you don't know anything about this woman. You can't possibly know anything about this woman from a 51-second clip. And then I'm kind of like caught in. Well, why did I put it out there if it's that um, meaningless or substanceless content? And the answer is it's a bribe for YouTube. Those reels have no value. It's content, but there's no substance to it. So why do we even bother calling it content? What it is a bribe for YouTube. YouTube sees it. They get stickiness out of it because people are just addicted to those reels and just watching them over and over again. And then they will reward your channel by giving you more traffic for those reels. So that I'm paying a bribe. That's what it is. But I realized I'm putting out a lot of shit, meaningless, empty calories or thought calories that we're just filling up YouTube with. None of it. Yeah. So if you that's what the B is for. If you think something is worth me actually going in and editing a reel and doing something and finding some funny stuff, you don't go crazy with the B.
It's my B. Don't you tell me how to talk to my B. I deal with my B the way I want to.
If there's too many markers on the file, I won't know where the clip is. That's the whole thing. But if you hear some, because I always think, like, I know there were a few laughs in there, but where the fuck were they? And who's got a 2 hours to go back and review every fucking line to hear? You know. But yeah, that would be a good thing. But these fucking people, man, they just like get on their high horse. Like, what are you trying to prove? Are you trying to, assert your moral superiority over this woman because you judged her as a bad mother in a 51-second clip? And I try to explain, she had her husband kill himself virtually in front of their kids. You might want to lighten up on her a little bit. Yeah, that's a sad story, but she's still a terrible mother, and she know.
Yeah, 51 seconds. I knew my mother for 50 something years. I still had trouble calling her a good mother or a bad mother. She had moments of both. Okay. So there's no way of knowing it during like 51 seconds, if you could tell if my mother was a good mother or a bad mother. She had her moments. She killed off 2 husbands. I think that's a good thing. I think,
You can't judge parents. You can't. No. I've talked about that a billion times. There's no manual for being a good. Oh, did you hear that? I think it was because RFQ got in there.
You're choking up. I
mean, well, I should do a interview on InfoWord with Alex P. Jones, and the P stands for penis can, of course. Do an interview in RFQ and Jordan Peterson at the same time. Be like, well, did your daddy have a big penis? Well, my uncle had a big penis, but I don't think it was that big. It didn't feel that big,
The best part about that, Matt, is realizing that that's what's going on in your head most of the time.
It is.
You just hear Jordan Peterson and Alex Jones arguing.
I think Alex Jones is winning the InfoWars.
Ted Kennedy, or which Kennedy is it that is in there?
RFQ.
RFQ. Well, but it's actually RFK, but I don't know why everybody is all calling me Q.
Alex Jones is winning the war between my ears lately. I'm fucking with him, but I'm realizing that, he ain't reading my shit. I'm just doing this to make myself laugh. But I'm fucking with it. Every post he puts on Twitter, because he just got allowed back on Twitter. Right. And so I just feel like obligated to fuck with him a little bit. He said last night, Rogan was right. He was right, and Tucker Carlson were right. It's time to unite for the fight. Like, Rogan's an imbecile. You're a fat, drunken alcoholic, and Tucker Carlson is a silver spoon elitist fuck. So that allow me to correct you like that. And
see, and I always thought of Tucker as more of a twat, but I can see the fuck. I can see that.
Well,
I can see that from your point of view.
I don't think the China's like to be associated with Tucker Carlson.
He acts like a self-made man, but he's a fish stick kid. He's adopted by the Gorton fish sticks company. The people who own that company, Gorton Carlsons, are the Gortons of Gloucester, fish sticks company. So he's a fish stick billionaire right from birth, but he acts like a self-made man, like he made his millions. Basically, he was born.
I can't tell you how many people I've met who have come into family money, but talk like they are the ones that did all the work. He's like, all you did was be born into a family that had money.
You know who actually has? I think he has. Now I haven't fact checked this, but I know Jeff Bezos. There are pictures of him when he was developing Amazon, working in his garage by himself. He started Amazon as a one-man shop. So I think he made all his money, billions of dollars, on his own. He's a truly self-made man. I know there's a lot of hate for him, but Lex Fridman did a 2-hour podcast with him. There's some real gold in some of the things he's saying. Talking about decision making and how in a business he realized pretty early on that he's the CEO and he's probably going to be the most respected man in the room as far as his. If he says something too early, people will try to be yes men and alter their opinions to try to appease the boss. So he doesn't speak in a meeting until the end, and he has this hierarchy of, the newest guy should speak first, and all that, so that people are more free to really honestly express their ideas without being influenced of the boss. I know the boss hates this. I was going to say this, but I just heard the boss say he doesn't like that, so now I'm going to do it. He wants to encourage people to. That's a fucking great thing. I don't think a lot of companies do that. I think they overlook that and don't realize that when the boss comes in full of bluster like that and saying, "Well, this is what we're going to do." Alex Jones isn't running every company in the world, by the way, but his penis is. What, you gonna say something, Will? You look like you want to say something.
No,
you just love your microphone. You just love your microphone. I love.
I just want to be close to it.
Oh my god! Speaking of that, we watched Happy Gilmore last night, and he was all up on the box. I want to kiss you all over. No, anyway.
I don't know. I never saw Happy Gilmore, but I was.
You've never seen Happy Gilmore? Are you kidding me? Oh my god!
No,
that's. I can't take out Adam Sandler's comedy. I could take Rain on Me is one of my favorite movies. When he's being serious, he's really good. I can't take it. It's just too. Well, you know what? The one where he went. What was the hell? He goes to. He's Junior. Satan's son or something. That one.
Oh, Little Nicky.
Little Nicky.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That one's the only comedy I've seen of his. Really, I can't take him. He's just.
I never saw all of that, but yeah, I have difficulty stomaching Adam Sandler in large quantities.
But I don't know why I was thinking about him last night. I do know why. I saw a reel where a guy was confronting all these celebrities on the street, and he went up to Adam Sandler, and Adam Sandler kind of muscled him out, like, get your fucking camera out of my face, type of deal. But I was thinking about Sandler. It's possible. I haven't fact checked this, but it's possible he's one of the biggest box office stars in the history of cinema. Which would be really astonishing. I mean, think about all the money he's made. His movies.
Yeah, he's probably like his all-time gross is probably pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
adjusted for inflation and
excluding porn and stuff like that. That did phenomenal.
What was
these ones that he's done with Jennifer Aniston have done pretty good as well. So,
what the one about I don't know, being a single father. Well, I forget what the hell that one was. But his name
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy. Okay.
Where he's like basically it was actually Jon Stewart, right? Yeah, Jon Stewart is actually the kid's dad, but he's like away on like a business trip, so he just like hijacks him for a couple of weeks or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't see that movie, but I should have.
One of my favorite parts about that movie is when the kid is walking, they're taking the kid back. The like DSS comes to take the kid back, and the kid is dejected. He doesn't want to be taken away from study, and he's like, "But I wiped my own ass. I wiped my own ass." Like, Like I wipe my own butt. Why are you getting rid of me? Like, don't do
Well,
this.
accomplishments are important, and it's good to
Yeah.
recognize your own accomplishments. Listen,
Oh my god, that
I'm
fucking
still
part
working
gets
on
me
that.
so fucking bad.
I wipe my own, but it's usually on the curtains or the bath towels.
Right.
It's yeah,
Now,
baby steps.
this means nothing to anybody. I don't know why I'm even bothering bringing it up, but in that movie, somebody, was it John Stewart's character or Sandler's character, is named Castellucci, Mr. Castellucci. Um, one of
Yeah.
them. That was taken from Teddy Castellucci, who's a guitar player. He's actually in The Wedding Singer. He's a
Oh,
kid. He's a kid who played in my band. He was 13. I was like 21. And I saw him play, and I said, "We got to get this kid in the band." And he was amazing, a prodigy. Went to University of Miami. Adam Sandler saw him there somehow and picked him up, and then he was musical director in all of his movies and all that stuff. And he's a guitar player in The Wedding Singer, but his last name is Castellucci, and they took the character's name and Big Daddy from that.
right.
Means nothing, but it's something that I feel connected to that, even though I haven't watched the movie because I know Teddy Castellucci. I don't know what
I
he's
feel
doing today.
connected to it because I was once 13.
So 6 degrees of separation. I know Teddy Castellucci. You know me, so you know Adam Sandler.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
sure. Within
and I
30
and I still
whatever.
haven't seen enough of his movies. So
Right. I also was thinking he's a guy I would never want. As big a star as he is, I would never want him on the show. I would never want to talk to him. Basically, that's colored a lot by Bert Kreischer's attempt at trying to interview him, and he wasn't friendly at all, and not the kind of guy who would put up with somebody who doesn't know his full body of work and know everything about him. And Bert didn't. Bert didn't know shit about him. Or Adam Sandler, big star, and I'm just so happy to have you. But Sandler wasn't having any of it. It kind of embarrassed him a
dude,
little
I
bit.
mean, I don't know. I mean, I'd probably gush pretty good over him because, dude, I literally used to listen to What the Hell Happened to Me like a couple times a week as a teenager, which was
what's that? Is that a comedy sketch or an album or
yeah,
something?
it's like one of the comedy albums that he put out in the
Okay.
90s.
So if we ever have him on the show, you'll interview him.
It's got the original Hanukkah song on it. It's got there's this fucking skit on there. I think it's called Cock and Ball or Do It for Mama. It might be called Do It for Mama, but oh my god, the Do It for Mama skit is fucking hilarious, bro, because
Hilarious.
it's this mother just being completely inappropriate with her children poolside. It's fucking ridiculous.
So if I'm not expecting, believe me, there's no lines in the water on this. But if by some miracle,
like not that we're expecting to land this next week, no, yeah. I would die for that opportunity.
You would be the one to interview him, and I'd sit up in the corner there.
And, no, the first question Willie would ask. First question Willie would ask
one at a time.
Oh, go Willie.
Go ahead, GD.
No, you go.
Go ahead. No, you go.
No, you go.
No, you go. You go.
No,
you go.
Now, age before beauty. You go.
Oh my god! All right.
You don't even remember what you were saying. The GD was saying the first question Willie would ask is,
"Oh, how many times did 50 First Dates make you cry?"
Yeah.
Made me cry 3.
The first thing I remember about Adam Sandler, he was on Saturday Night Live, and he was doing this bit about calling Shannon Doherty. I guess she was the guest host or something, and he was like hanging up on her, like he wanted to talk to her. It was just like a pathetic bit about a guy who's got a crush on a girl, but he's afraid to talk to her. That's all I remember about him being on Saturday Night Live. That's it.
Really?
Yeah. Man, well, I stopped watching Saturday Night Live after the first iteration of it, that the John Belushi years, the Chevy Chase years, Bill Murray years, and then I never watched it again.
Really. So you've never seen Canteen Boy? Do you not know about Canteen Boy?
No.
Oh my god! So him and Alec Baldwin have a series of fucking skits together called Canteen Boy, and it's Alec Baldwin plays an inappropriate Boy Scout leader, and Adam Sandler plays not with it Boy Scout, that doesn't understand the advances of Alec Baldwin as the advances that they are. It's fucking wildly uncomfortable but hilarious. Like,
Why? That's a great. Well, most hilarious stuff is wildly uncomfortable. I think.
right,
Yeah.
right. It's like, oh my god, dude, and like, how does this kid, how do you not know that he's like fucking? Oh my god, during most of these skits, it just seems like Alec Baldwin is just waiting to rape him, and Canteen Boy couldn't be none the wiser. Like he's no clue that he's about to get pushed
I don't
in
know that.
by
I
his
like
fucking.
I like a lot of what Alec Baldwin does on at least the last stuff that I saw. Like the last thing I remember was Sweaty Balls, which I
Oh,
will still watch.
Oh, Sweaty Balls. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
will
yeah.
still watch that
With
one.
the two cooking
Yeah,
ladies.
yeah.
I think Adam Sandler's probably a pretty good guy, and I'm basing that on interview Brad Pitt did with him. So, I mean, you can't really judge these people and know anything really about these people. It's like that. It's like The Real. It's 51 seconds. But he was talking about how this acting coach. He was going to NYU acting school, and his acting coach told him he was never going to amount to anything. You suck. You'll never be anything. And then
Right.
after he was a big
Yeah.
star, he saw the guy in a bar, and he wasn't rude to the guy. He was very cordial to the guy, and gave him thanks a lot. You
He
meant
actually introduced him as the only teacher to ever buy him a beer.
wow. So yeah, I mean the ability
Mhm.
to kind of
Yeah.
Chris Rock did something similar. He on one of the movies he made that was a remake or something. I forget what it was, a remake of Heaven Can Wait or whatever. A guy who had bullied him in high school was a security guard on that movie, and he basically he saw
No
him and
shit.
he didn't rub it in his face. I remember you were bullying
Yeah.
me. Now I'm getting paid $50 million for this, and you're getting paid $15 an hour or whatever. He didn't give him any of that.
That movie's
I
called Down
would.
to Earth, by the way.
Yeah. I would definitely be the kind of guy who would rub that in his face. Now, Jack Decker, who was our scheduled guest, just popped in and saw us doing this and then popped back out. He's gone.
Popped back out.
Waiting for
Yeah, that remake that Chris Rock did is called Down to Earth, and he plays a comedian. He plays a black comedian that dies in a car crash, but Eugene Levy plays the angel who like killed him by mistake or too early or whatever.
Yeah.
So he puts him in the body of somebody else, but it's an old rich white guy. And so Chris Rock, as an old rich white guy, starts trying to do stand up, the Chris Rock style of stand up as an old rich white guy. It's a fucking hilarious movie.
That's a funny premise, just to see Chris Rock in a white body trying to do his comedy.
He gets knocked out in some kind of like an ice cream shop or something for saying the N-word, and all he's doing is singing DMX lyrics.
Right.
He's singing DMX lyrics as this old rich white guy, and he's busts out the N-word a couple times, and dude just comes and knocks him the fuck out.
Yeah, interesting. You know that movie's a remake of a remake.
Yeah.
Right.
Heaven Can Wait was a remake of Here Comes Mr. Jordan, which was my father's favorite movie when he was a young kid. That's how old that was. Black and white. Not Robert Taylor, somebody like that, but it was a boxer, and basically it's the same story. I like the Warren Beatty version.
Yeah.
Because I like almost everybody in that movie. Charles Grodin, Diane Cannon. Warren Beatty had I wasn't a huge Warren Beatty fan, but in that movie I thought he was excellent. So I never watched the Chris Rock. But I'm culturally unhip about everything.
Now I did like Dave. I like Dave Chappelle. His character he did when he's a blind guy. He's blind and he doesn't know he's black, and he thinks he's white. He's in the South, and so
in that movie.
No, I'm just saying we was talking about bits and stuff. I just like that particular, sketch of
he's black.
David.
He's blind, but he doesn't know he's
blind and black and doesn't know he's black. And but he's raised in the South, and so he's like racist. He hates black people.
That's that's something I never really considered too much. Is black blind people and how they look at race. Do they even have racial stereotypes? I mean, how do you if you don't have sight? You can only get it from people telling you what to think, right?
And he doesn't know he's black, so he hates black people because he was raised in the South, and so he thinks he's white. He thinks he's a white racist.
Wow.
It cracks me up every time I see it.
You guys at all Tommy Smothers fans?
I was. I liked Tommy Smothers a lot.
Will, do you even know who he is?
He was one of the Smothers cousins.
The Smothers brothers.
I
Smothers
don't
brothers.
think they were brothers. I think they were cousins. I think they were cousins playing brothers.
I'm gonna have to look this up.
No.
I'm gonna call you a lying fuck.
Yes, you are.
Anyway, they were the first real. Maybe that's overstating things, but cancel culture in a big way. Their show got canceled because they were protesting. They were saying things that weren't in line with the government, narrative about Vietnam. And right. so in that, Smothers Brothers,
their dynamic helped me with my piss poor relationship with my brother. Right. It helped me just accept the fact that my mother liked him best.
Smothers Brothers were two brothers, folk music duo who later parlayed their career into comedy and television. And G.D. Fenderson is a fucking liar. That's what it says.
Man,
it's funny that somebody went to Wiki probably in the last 2 minutes and just changed that. That's pretty good. Anyway, no, you're a fucking liar. I knew you were a fucking liar. Born in 1938, so he was 86. Somebody wrote on social media, Tommy Smothers passed away, 86, died of cancer. I was like, if you're 86, you died of old age. No matter what killed you, it could be a bullet, it could be cancer, it could be cold. You died of old age.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think 86 is the perfect age to die because you get 86 from existence.
Yeah, if anything past 80, the cause of death should always just be old age.
Yeah.
Well, if they did that, then a lot of people who killed for money, like took off grandpa for the will, wouldn't be prosecuted because it wouldn't be a murder charge. It would be like, I shot him for the money, but it was old age. I couldn't wait for him to die.
Euthanasia.
We're just trying to get the
and then 86 is not euthanasia; it's euthanasia.
Yeah.
I would like to modify my statement. That would not include homicide in any way or suicide. I don't know. I think I always think people have the right to. I'm not encouraging suicide. YouTube, disregard everything I just said. But I'm just saying, I believe in I believe in euthanasia. I believe that people should have the right to end their life
to die with dignity
on their own
in the way that they choose. Yeah, no, I get that. I totally get that.
But I am sad to see Tommy Smothers. It was a big part of my growing up, and my buddy Ralph always said, "We got to do a Smothers Brothers type act." Like, why? Why can't we? If we're going to do something original. Why do we have to take something that's already out that somebody else has already done? Plus the fact that he didn't play bass. No, I'm gonna play the dumb guy with the guitar, and you just stand there. But yeah, Mom always liked you best. My favorite bit of theirs was chocolate. Are you familiar with chocolate?
I've eaten it a few times.
Chocolate is a bit where Tommy Smothers he fell into a vat of chocolate. There's a song about it, but instead of yelling chocolate, he yelled fire because nobody would save him if he yelled chocolate.
Right.
I don't know. I know plenty of fat people that probably come running if you start yelling chocolate. They'd be like,
chocolate, but they won't save. They won't save you. They'll go for the chocolate. They'll save the chocolate.
Yeah. Well, they slurp it up until you couldn't drown anymore.
Right. Oh well, that's true. What is what I believe in early boarding. Carl, I guess that's his
Is
way of
that
saying he.
waterboarding, airline boarding?
Doesn't he
I
need
think it's his way of saying he agrees with the euthanasia or the ability to end your life on your own terms.
Did I ever tell you about the waterboarding incident that occurred in prison?
Oh no! Did you get waterboarded?
No, I was smart enough to avoid the incident, but I was there for it. I was witness to it. It was
All right,
ridiculous.
go. We're going to allow you to tell a very long
So
Matt,
story here.
Matt,
when Dark
I
Thirty
think
came out on cable, all the inmates in at Ludeman at least really freaked out, which was where I was being housed at the time. And I was in a 6-man room, and there was a 3-man room across the hall. 4 of my roommates and 2 of the guys from across the hall decided that they wanted to waterboard each other to see who could take it long for the longest. And so these fucking yahoos set up 3 like chair. They're not chairs, but they're like locker boxes that we sit on or whatever. But they line up these 3, and they have the person lay their head like in the sink, and then like they filled up like pitchers of water and shit like that, and fucking put a towel over each other's fucking faces, and fucking waterboarded each other while and you're supposed to give like a little tap if you're done or whatever, and they were timing it, and whoever went the longest was the toughest or whatever. Now they're in the middle of fucking doing this. Me and my roommate that are not involved in it, like I'm talking to him like bro, you realize that like if one of these fucking idiots dies from this, like we're all gonna be in the same fucking trouble because we're not saying anything, you know? And he's like, what do you want me to do? And I was like, well, fuck, dude, you're the dad of one of these motherfuckers, because I was being housed with a father and son. And he's like, we're in the same fucking prison. You think he's listening to anything I have to fucking say right now? And fucking, I was just like, Jesus Christ, bro. Like, nobody ended up getting hurt or whatever. But one of the dumbest things I saw people take part in was they fucking willingly waterboarded.
If you would have went to the guards and said this needs to stop, like I probably would have, and probably be seen as a rat, right? Because
oh yeah, like there's no way, like I couldn't do that. And what's really stupid is a couple of these guys are my buddies, people I actually like really care about. So like I'm trying to talk sense to them, but you can't talk sense to senseless people sometimes.
Yeah,
and yeah, there's just like me personally, like there's no way I could have done that. I couldn't, because I'm not dealing with the backlash of what that turns into.
Right. And me, I would tap out as soon as they got my hair wet.
Huh?
I would tap out as soon as they got my hair wet.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure.
Because if I don't have James to touch it up, it's like, no, you didn't get my hair wet. No.
Right.
I'll tell you what you want to know.
I'm the same way. I don't like to get my hair wet.
Yeah,
I was like, I'll tell you what you need to know. Don't touch my hair. Don't touch
you know
my
what
hair.
your pussy is, because you don't want to get that hair wet.
Are you familiar with Tim Kennedy? He's a special forces guy. He's been on Rogan. He was on the show on the History Channel, Finding Hitler. He was talking about waterboarding.
I've probably seen clips of him, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's a special forces guy, and then full of macho, full of and basically was saying that waterboard isn't torture because he's allowed himself to be waterboarded. That is such a bullshit fucking thing, because if you're allowing yourself to be waterboarded, like the guys that you were in prison with, they had the option of tapping out to say, I'm done, I've had enough. Right. You always know in that controlled environment that they're not going to kill you. These people, the people doing this, their intent is not to kill you. The difference between guys in Gitmo getting waterboarded is they actually believe that people are going to kill them, and it's horrifying to think they're not going to let me up on this. Their intent is to kill me. So that safety factor, that little bit of safety net in your mind, makes all the difference on whether or not it's torture or not. But
I'd agree with that all day for sure.
Yeah. Like I jumped out of an airplane, but because I had a parachute, I wouldn't have done it. If
I feel much differently about it.
Yeah.
If you threw me out with no fucking shoot, yeah.
Right. Yeah, technically I had 2 parachutes, but I would not have jumped out, even at gunpoint. Probably, I was saying, "No, you have to shoot me."
Right. Well, I almost wanted to say, and I stopped myself about when we was telling the story about the guys getting waterboarded, is that this is kind of verifies that most people who are sent to prison are not playing with a full deck. 'Cause-
Right, right. I mean, there's a fair amount. There's a fair
right.
amount,
But I come back to what.
especially in South Dakota.
Well, I think anyway. I mean,
Well, South Dakota, like, they don't like you can't if you commit a crime because of like mental dysfunction or whatever, they're not going to send you to the state hospital after your sentencing. You're still going to go to prison. They just got a special part of the prison they put you in. And
interesting.
so, yeah,
What
South
section
Dakota
was he?
doesn't. They used to, but Jimmy Woolman changed all that when he escaped from there and killed a family.
Now, Carl's daddy calls lover boy John Hinckley, who shot Ronald Reagan and James Brady and the security guard, who social Secret Service guy. I can't remember his name. Carl loves John Hinckley, but Hinckley, I definitely believe, used insanity to get out of going to prison. I don't think he was ever really technically insane. I think he faked it. He used the Jodie Foster letters as, see, I'm too crazy to go to jail, and then was let out eventually. This is a guy who shot a president, a president's press secretary, and a Secret Service guy, and got let out because he was smart enough to play the system and play crazy. So there's that. But yeah, did you hear about your home state of Iowa passed a law? Well, it's not passed into law. They passed a bill. I think it has to be signed by the governor, that children and even toddlers, 2-year-olds, can carry open carry pistols,
They
guns.
started they started that bill back in 2015.
Right.
Why? Why?
I did that as part of my
Because
routine back in.
2-year-olds need a gun. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous. That's beyond
Can you
ridiculous.
can you imagine? I could see myself as a 2-year-old. If I had a gun at 2 years old, none of my friends would have made it past 3.
That's the word. I mean,
Whether
I get why you're
intention,
saying that, but Jesus.
whether intentional or not, if you
Right.
give a kid a gun, he's going to use it. And listen,
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah,
don't think
no, I mean, they're just, they're not developed enough to, know the full implications of what it's going to mean when that gun goes off,
right.
Like, and I mean, and that's, that was the whole, in my opinion, that's kind of the whole argument that they use for like violence in video games and stuff like that. Is it like it teaches you that these actions aren't such a big deal when they really fucking are. You know what I mean? Like they have much bigger implications than people think about until it's too late.
Right.
And that like if we could, I learned a long time ago that a smart person will learn from their mistakes, but a wise person will learn from the mistakes of others. And one of the reasons I'm so transparent about all the mistakes that I've made in my life is because please, please, please learn from my fucking life and don't make the mistakes that I've made.
For you young kids out there, what he really means is hold on to both of your testicles dearly. Hold them close to your heart. Well, not close to your heart, close to your dick. Wherever. Just close to your anus. Whatever. Just keep your balls, is what he's saying. How old were you when you first got your first gun? When you first got a gun in your hand, like a real gun?
Are you asking me or are you asking
Yeah.
me?
How old were you?
I was 16 the first. Well, yeah, no, hang on, I went no. Okay, so a BB gun, like a BB gun, I was
BB gun
probably
don't
like
count.
12 or 13.
Yeah, I had a
But
BB gun at like 7.
I'm trying to think of what I can't remember what year. It had to be before I was 14 because my dad lost his foot. So I was probably 13 or 14 the first time I went hunting with a shotgun.
Wow.
And like, yeah, so I didn't hold a handgun until I was 16 though.
shotguns are kind of I don't want to say, well, they are less dangerous. We have right now, it's duck hunting season here. Duck duck season, wabbit season. We don't have wabbits. But every morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning, boom, 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 they're out on the water shooting shotguns. But they're not a threat to people because shotguns only go so far, and they're out on the water.
Yeah, they lose their. Yeah.
If it were a rifle, if they were like a 30-06 or something, I'd be a little concerned that you're out on the water, but that bullet can travel a fucking mile.
Right.
So shotguns are. First time I got a real gun in my hand was a 22 pistol with the long bullet, not the short 22, the long one. And it was my friend's father. And I use this as an argument all the time about gun safety. My friend's father was an avid hunter, and he's a very strong. His kids are both advocates of Second Amendment, very strong, gun rights people. And I was like, well, was your father a responsible gun owner? Oh, yeah, he was like, a hunter, a real outdoorsman. And he let me at 12 years old, 13 years old, get his pistol, load it, and shoot the neighbor's mailbox out on the pole on light and the pole on his mailbox. So I mean, you can think you're a responsible gun owner, but if a 12-year-old is getting your gun without your knowledge and shooting it without your knowledge, he didn't find out about it for 2 months that I had shot the gun. You're not really. So, I'm not an anti-gun guy. People think I am. I'm not an anti-gun guy, but responsible gun ownership. I like GD. I don't think it was GD's idea. I think it was the Rev's idea about registering insurance, getting insurance on your gun and all that kind of stuff. I do think.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that. That was the Rev.
That's
the Reverend and I worked that out over some pot back in '98.
Wow.
Pot philosophy was the first time we discussed it. We used to do a radio show called Pot Philosophy.
Is that a completely? I haven't heard anybody else talk about it, so I'm assuming it is a completely original idea. Or did you?
Well, I've heard it again. I mean, I've heard it. The only other place I've heard it discussed was on Tom Hartman, his radio show.
I know Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman.
Yes. She was actually part of the Pot Philosophy group.
So all that discussion comes back to the states' rights things. Oh, so if it comes back in a few minutes, when he's expected to be here, we'll talk about then. I'm going to play a commercial now. We'll take a short break. People can get high on Daily High Club right now. We haven't seen Evil Ian the last couple of days. I think he's gone missing. I hope he's okay. Anyway, Daily High Club. Get high. Daily.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just another retailer. We're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box. Or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Get started today. Visit minddogtv.com and click on the banner on the homepage.
Click on the banner on the homepage. Willie looks better now, doesn't he?
I've never seen him look better. His complexion has cleared up.
What flag is that the chair is displaying back there? That it's like a.
I just think it's rubber cushions, red and blue.
Red and blue. But it's like reminiscent of a flag. I think if it had a yellow on it, on the bottom stripe. I don't know what flag. What country flag is? is he representing here today?
I don't know.
What do we have going on in the chat room? We have people in the. Oh, Evil's there. Coffee. He's there. He's just been quiet. He hasn't been contributing a whole lot of comments, but he's there. I see him in the back there. Those are some weird earbuds, man.
Oh,
Can you hear? Can you hear? Willie?
Yes.
Can you hear? Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you probably delayed a little bit. But yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you. Oh. Well, Ian saying he just tuned in. Well, I just said I wonder where you were, so I guess that's convenient. You tuned in just at the right moment.
Yeah.
So what is with
talking about them?
What is with those? It's got to form fit to your ear. What is that all about? Oh, those Bluetooth? Maybe that's why we have a delay.
Well, Bluetooth, does that have a cord? If it was Bluetooth,
they're plugged in. They're plugged into the setup.
Interesting.
It's so that I can hear you, because I don't have. I wanted to get cans, because then I could hear you, because you know how I have hearing issues.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to just be the laptop, because I'm pretty sure the microphone would hear that.
Now, are you getting psyched up for this karaoke battle? I'm hoping you win this karaoke battle. I mean, listen, I know you got
me too.
Your heart set on $30,000, but I think $1,000 would be a fucking amazing.
That'd be a nice shot.
Yeah, very cool stuff. Jack Decker is in the back now. Let's recap. Jack Decker is a guy who has a idea about states' rights that he wants to present. We went over it last week, and you know my initial reaction to that. And basically, we read his whole document out. His state's first amendment is what he has in mind. I don't know if he's pitching this to the government, whether he's running for office and plans on sponsoring this into a amendment himself, or what the case is, but he's here now. Let's let him tell us about it. Good morning, Jack. And
morning.
Welcome.
I have jumped into your live stream before, so I pulled out. So
yeah, I saw that. Anyway, thanks for being here. Now, clarify for me: are you running for office? What is your intent with this?
No, I'm not running for office.
So how would you get this idea that you have, and we'll talk about the idea, but how would you get this idea implemented if you're not running for office? Do you expect somebody else to, I'm sorry. I just undid that. Let's see here.
Right.
There you go. Would you expect somebody else to take up this cause for you?
No. Well, at the federal level, there would have to be federal politicians that would back it. State level, there would have to be state politicians that would have to back it. If I was a politician, it really wouldn't. It would help a bit, but it really wouldn't help a lot. There has to be a groundswell. It has to be a movement. This is where the states would have to get involved, and this is really a state movement. And I think they would, because it gives them power, gives them more power. But it is, for what I'm doing right now, is just building a movement. It's just building interest in it. I just started this. I've been working on it pretty much for 40 years. And has had different forums, and I think this is the best forum. Even this forum here has recently been changed. I took out a section because there were people concerned about repeating the mistakes that was done with the Articles of Confederation, and I thought the section was rather redundant anyway, so I just took it out. And since that time, people would not get as concerned about us repeating the errors of the Articles of Confederations. So it's just right now, it's just building public interest. I'm appearing on podcasts like yours, and basically doing the proverbial cutting my teeth here. I'm not promoting it, not pitching it yet to radio and TV talk shows or mainstream press, because I want to answer the questions. I'm looking forward to this one. I have other podcasts coming on up. I have so far 10 lined up. You're pretty much the only one that's doing during the Christmas break. Everyone else is like, we'll wait until after.
I'm here every day. I can't get away.
Okay.
I'm basically chained to this chair.
Okay. Well, I mean, all the other ones are past New Year's Eve. In fact, you are literally the only one that is between Christmas Eve and January 18th, and then all of them start just. I guess that's when the gun goes off and everyone comes back and wants to start doing podcasts because they have one every day after that for 10 days.
On that note, people don't understand. People who we're on several networks, and I keep saying I don't want to be called a podcast. And
I'm sorry.
No, I'm fine with people calling. I don't myself want to brand it as that. And people who are into podcasting are like, they don't understand it. I was like, well, everybody else is a podcast. I'm trying to differentiate because I don't think, because you said like going to be on other podcasts. I don't think what we're doing is the same as what anybody else is doing. I'm really trying to be more like a morning radio show. And it's daily and it's current, like what's relevant today. So a week from now, probably be old news and all that kind of stuff. But this whole idea of podcasting, it's like everybody and their mother's doing it. I want that's my whole reluctance to being part of it. But
I understand that. I met you, bro. I met you by way of Podmatch, and that's why I called you a podcaster.
Right. Now, before we are going to get into the nitty gritty of your document here.
Sure.
But the Colorado decision to keep Trump off the ballot, that is a states' rights issue. Are you for it or against it? Do you agree with it or disagree with it?
I agree with the state being allowed to do it. I think I'm a freedom of speech absolutist. And I believe that from that standpoint is just wrong. But it's already backfired on them, just like every indictment against Trump has always backfired on the Democrats. It just made him more popular. And I think the Colorado is only taking him off the quote-unquote primary ballot. It doesn't take it out for the general election. Maine, I think it's the Secretary of State, I think that's what it's called, in Maine, is trying to take him off the election ballot. That's just election interference. It's just ridiculous. They know that I'm a libertarian. I'll be voting Libertarian Party. I've done that since 40 years. Okay, right. I've never voted not libertarian. So I'm not a Trump supporter. I didn't vote for him in 2016. I didn't vote for 2020. I won't be voting for. The only reason I would vote for Trump in 2024 is if Rand Paul was his VP, and that ain't gonna happen. But if he were to that, I'd vote for him. Otherwise, I would just be voting for the Libertarian Party.
All right. Now, but moving forward, because this idea, how can you have a country or a leader of a country, a president, if states, and we're not limiting it to 50 states right now, we're limited to 50 states, but your amendment your amendment proposal includes the idea of expanding that. But how can you ever trust an election? Trust is not the real right word here, but have an election where each state is deciding different people. So you could have like hundreds of people on a ballot, and so some states never even got a chance to vote for the guy who ends up being the president of the country. It seems like it would be really a conflated bunch of nonsense, which is why
that's okay. Sorry.
What?
It is that way now. It is that way now.
How?
Oh, primaries.
We still have the states still vote for the ballots are uniform, or at least they have been uniform up until now. So if there's a Democrat, and Republican, Libertarian, Green Party, they're all on in all 50 states. So those, as a voter, you would go in.
They're not.
Well, you're
They're
right.
not.
You're right. You're absolutely right about that. They're not
Us
all on it,
libertarian,
all 50 states.
us
But
libertarians
Republican
have
and
had
Democrat.
problems getting on. Yeah, Republican Democrats, they've rigged the system to be a two-party system. And they purposely made it hard for any third party to get on the ballot. Libertarian Party spends the majority of its funds just getting ballot access.
Right.
They're not really. They could use that to their advantage, and then the Republicans and Democrats would take away that if they use it at the same time as promoting their candidates, as opposed to just getting people to sign a petition. But
Right.
Libertarian Party has been the only third party to be, I think, on all 50 states. Period. The Green Party never got to 50 states. I look at the history of all the third parties. None have gotten on all 50 states. Ross Perot's Reform Party never got in all 50 states. It's really hard to do that, and it's because it's set up as a two-party system.
Right.
And I, as a libertarian party, I'm not totally opposed to that.
Right.
Every system has its pluses and minuses. This is not. You look at the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Oh my gosh, they've changed so much over the years. I look right now. The Democratic Party is for censoring speech. Biden has been caught numerous times trying to censor speech on the social platforms. Democrat Party used to be for freedom of speech, and now the parties have switched.
No.
But they shift and change. I mean, a lot of people don't understand that the Democratic Party was the party of the Confederacy. They were pro-slavery. They were the ones that had Jim Crow. They're the ones that literally had members of the Ku Klux Klan openly being part of their party. Now look at them, and that is all because FDR opened up the welfare benefits to everyone, but mainly he was going for the black vote, and now it switched again. Look at in the 1980s, just recently, the religious right threatened to leave the Republican Party, and to keep them in, the Republican Party then had to add to their platform an anti-abortion platform and add some more religious language to their platform. And then in the 90s, they look what happened to the Democratic Party. The Green Party was threatening to split their vote. They were not working for within the Democratic Party as the religious right was in the Republican Party, but both major parties are all afraid about splitting the vote. And so the Democratic Party became more socialist, became more their environmentalism positions became more how you put it, stronger, restrictive, or however you want to put it. And it's all trying to prevent splitting of the vote. Right now, the Libertarian Party is an unusual party. Normally, a third parties are absorbed by one of the two parties.
Right.
The Libertarian Party can't be absorbed by either one. The Republicans won't absorb it because our social issues are very, I hate using the term liberal because that's what libertarians are. Libertarians are classical liberal. But our social issues are things that the Democratic Party would agree with. Whereas our economic issues are something that the Democrat would not agree with, but the Republicans would. And so the Libertarian Party is one that neither of the two major parties can absorb at this time. And so, like for last, 2, 3, 4 elections, Libertarian Party vote has spanned the spread. If the Republicans or Democrats could have gotten the Libertarian vote, they would have won the election. That happened in 2020. That happened in 2016. That happened in 2012. But that's happening because they can't. Neither major party can absorb without giving up something else.
No,
Republicans would have to give up the religious right. The Democrat Party would have to give up the Green Party. And right now they're making a calculation that.
I don't know about
It's not
absorb,
worth it.
but I hear what you're saying. But here in New York State, we had Conservative Party and Liberal Party. Conservative Party was aligned almost in lockstep with the Republican Party, but not absorbed by them. And the Liberal Party is in lockstep with the Democrat Party, but not absorbed by them. They still had their separate rows on the ballots and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, they had the same candidates and all that stuff.
Yeah. The Republican Party platform changed to get the what they call it at the time, it was called the silent majority. They called themselves the silent majority. So they changed their
Richard
platform.
Nixon coined that term.
No, yeah. I'm not sure, but it was picked up by the religious right as being Republican, the religious Republicans, and the Republican Party adjusted their platform to where those who would have been attracted to the religious right or conservative party would vote for Republicans instead, just like the Democrat Party. The Green Party still exists, but the Democrat Party adjusted its platform so those who would have voted for the Green Party are now voting for the Democratic Party. And it, if I personally, my own personal prediction is that Trump will win this election. Whenever like in this type of a highly contested election happens, the aftermath is that the party that lost has to do some soul searching. What did we do wrong? What was our how was our message off? And I think with the Democrat Party, it will be kind of like with there's a, they call it woke, but there's a section of population that really likes censoring, and so they may decide that the Democrat Party may try to drop the Green Party parts of his platform and try to absorb the Libertarian Party. I think that actually is possible, but it would require a huge upheaval within the Democratic Party. But that's common after elections. When your party lost the election, it's really common for the political party to do a lot of navel gazing. Sometimes they make a correction that brings in more moderate voters. Other times it's called the wilderness. Sometimes they're out in the wilderness for quite a while because they're within the party. You'll see it. I mean, it's going to be if Trump wins re-election, which I'm pretty sure he will, the Democratic Party is going to be in upheaval. And basically it's going to be, well, what did we do wrong? And everyone's going to point fingers at each other. And that's common after every election. And for news media, for programs like you, gives you great fodder for discussion. Oh, here's what's going on. And they won't basically the coverage of the party that's in power is going to be with what those politicians did and not really about their own political party at that time. And they usually don't do anything because, well, they won the election, so they got enough. So it's just normal politics. I know some people are calling for, we're going to have a civil war. Oh my God, grow up. Read some history books. You want to know about a contentious election? Follow the one after George Washington, Thomas Jefferson versus John Adams. My word, it's just unbelievable. And anyone that thinks that the press is unbiased, press has never been unbiased. The press has always been used to further their political agenda, whatever that agenda might be. So there's a person called Tim Pool. He's raising me.
Tim Pool?
We're going to have Tim Pool. We're going to have a civil war. We're going to have a civil war. But every time we have that,
he wants you to fight the Civil War. He doesn't want to fight the Civil. He keeps saying Civil War, but he's going to stay in his little bunker in Washington, in the Washington D.C. area, and hope that you fight it, not him.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he's also he used to be on the ground,
right?
And then he started getting recognized, and then was it AFTA, whatever they call it, that stupid group? They started going after him. They started when they saw him, they tweeted on out, he's at this location, and it eventually became dangerous for him to be out. This happens with any report. There's a Asian guy that does it, and he doesn't back down. So it's just, and the truth of the matter is that being on the ground, while people like Tim Pool and journalists love to be it, is very expensive. Where what you're doing right now in a studio is very cost effective. And I mean, right now, Tim Pool is pulling in God's
he's rich.
He's
very wealthy.
Just off of the paid chats that he gets. So it doesn't make any economic sense. When he was starting off, he had to do that. You
Right.
had to make your presence. He was there for Occupy Wall Street and all of those things. But then he became known.
Right.
And then became dangerous. And that's why, if you look at the major publications like New York Times and Post, etc., they purposely don't send the same reporters to similar events, because if there is an element there that will hunt them down. So they send, that's really common for why you have like New York Times, where they will send a new reporter to a situation like that because no one knows who he is or she is. They kind of like are incognito. They don't get the attention and they report on it. They send it back in. And it's really common for like on the broadcast news that they'll have that person do it, but then it'll be reported by someone else. The person will be a different person will be talking about it, because if they sent that media personality there, well, then they're going to attract the troublemakers. So they send a young reporter there, totally unknown. You ask them who they are. They'll a lot of times not even tell you what publication, or they'll line, say they're from a local newspaper, just not to draw the attention. So that's just politics every year.
Before there are some things you said that I definitely agree with, and part of it is this idea that the parties, first of all, the Democratic and Republican parties have rigged it so that there really is no room for a third party system or effective third party. Now, we can argue that Ross Perot made a huge difference in '92, and I think that's pretty obvious. But he didn't get close to getting elected. But so libertarianism, though, I think both of Democratic Party and Republican Party right now are really divided. People like to think that they're all in lockstep with each other, but within the Republican Party, there's a great divide right now. Within the Democratic Party, there are extremists, there are centrists, moderates, and all that stuff. The Libertarian
It's always
Party,
been that way. It's always been that way.
It's always been that way. I know that, but right now people don't. That's not the perception. People think of, well, they're just two sides, and this is one side and this is the other side. When there's a lot of varying, shades of gray in there. Libertarianism doesn't seem. Well, I'm going to ask you to define libertarianism as you mean, because I think probably your definition of what a libertarian is probably different than John McAfee's would have been if he was still alive today. I'm not sure about that, but I'd like to hear your definition of what it is.
The shortest version is a libertarian. I say libertarian party. There's libertarians and there's libertarian party, and they are actually there's a lot of arguments between. There's the true Scotsman, not true Scotsman fallacy within the Republican Libertarian Party. You're not a libertarian. It's almost a joke today for those of us who've been part for a long time. I would say we are fiscally respectful and socially tolerant. We don't all agree. There are those who are for abortion and those who are against abortion in the Libertarian Party. There are Christians in it, and there's atheists in it. It is reducing government as much as we can. We're not anarchists. We have a lot in our ranks. They're kind of like fellow travelers, but their end destination is a lot different for libertarians. Libertarians are not for eliminating government. It's for reducing government as much as possible, maximizing liberty as much as possible. There's just a debate within it whether or not Ron Paul was a libertarian, which is, I just point out, it's just a laugh. So there.
Before you go on from that, what's laughable about that? And I'm not saying I disagree with you, but I want to hear what's laughable about the debate on whether Ron Paul is really a libertarian or not.
It's not a true Scotsman fallacy. I am very inclusive. If you want to call yourself a libertarian, okay, you're a libertarian. Then I ask you, what are your positions? And then, like just recently, what is it? The third party that is right now, the Kennedy guy. He went and he courted the Libertarian Party about possibly being their presidential candidate. But you just read his campaign platform. You don't have to go past the first section, and it's not compatible with libertarian principles of the party, which again can be different from the individual. And within the libertarian movement, you if you're a member of the Libertarian Party, use the capital L. If you believe in the philosophy of libertarianism but are not part of the party, use the lowercase l. And that's how.
Is it fair to say that most of the libertarian considers themselves on the right?
No,
No,
we hate that.
But
we hate that. We hate that. And the liberals will say, "Well, you're far right." The Republicans will say, "We're far left." We get that all the time.
Really?
This is ridiculous.
I've never heard anybody say you're far left, but I know that.
Listen with the Republican Party. They think we're practically communists.
People who did not make it through the Republican primaries or whatever go over and become libertarians. Sure. I haven't seen any Democrats join the Libertarian.
No, they go to the Green. They go to the Green Party by and large.
Yeah,
Ralph Nader. That type of stuff. Yeah. The reason why Republicans go with Libertarian Party because of our economic positions.
All right.
But they don't usually agree with our social issues.
Let's move on to this state's First Amendment, because this is what we talked about this last time. And I'm going to read each one, and we'll kind of ask you to comment on it. Each state gets one vote in the U.S. Senate. That vote goes to the state's current governor. A current state governor can serve as a U.S. vice president, and governors cannot be compensated in any way or form for the service of the U.S. Senate or the office of the U.S. Vice President. Explain to me what that accomplishes.
Well, right now we bring the Congress up to the modern age. 2 senators and our House representatives come from an era when there was not immediate communication. Back when the U.S. Constitution was founded, the fastest form of communication was by horse or ship, and it would take weeks sometimes to get letters to each other. If you read the correspondence at that time, basically they had a lot of questions, and then they'd ask the other person a lot of questions, and that person would then write their answers and then send back a bunch of questions. It was very just time consuming. Well, now we have instantaneous. What we're doing right now is instantaneous communication. We can have the Congress telecommute, and U.S. senators are just to represent their state, just like House of Representatives is to represent the population. Well, if they already telecommute, why do we have 2 U.S. senators sitting there when we have a governor? And the other nice thing about that is that I create a hybrid. The first time that there is both a federal politician, is both a federal politician and a state politician. And this is where we don't have that now. U.S. senators and U.S. House of Representatives are only federal politicians. So if they want to impact something, everything is kind of like the old joke, to a hammer, everything looks like nails. So the federal politicians can only pass federal laws, and they want power, just like any politician. They want power. And so the first 100 years of our country, we had a Supreme Court that kept shooting down attempts to centralize power in the federal government. Then they got a Supreme Court that's pro-centralized power, and they agreed with the pro-centralized powers reading of the General Welfare Clause and the Commerce Clause. And now we have an all-powerful, all-intrusive federal government. This thing here, what I'm doing here, doesn't directly address that, but it will indirectly address that, because now you have a governor that is both governor of their state and U.S. senator, and like Section 2, they will then be able to decide what would be better handled at this federal level, what would be better handled at the state level. All states have departments, of all the federal departments, but 3, and that's the Defense, State, and Treasury. And even there, each state has a kind of a treasury, but they don't print money. They used to. At one time, every state has its own currency.
Right.
And then they do have aspects of defense, kind of, because they have their National Guard, which is headed by their governor. And as far as state, a lot of states, even to this day, try to negotiate, go over and talk to other countries. Man, they're trying to get them to bring a factory to their state. But I don't think that if this change, the amendment I'm proposing happens, I don't think that's going to change. I think they'll still keep. There's a lot of sense to having a consolidated voice when it comes to trees and that type of stuff. So, but I think if this happens, I think the federal government will probably be reduced. If this amendment was added, the federal government will be probably reduced to essentially just defense, state, and treasury. Because every state has a Department of Education. They call it different things. Well, that's one that all states, they only call it Department of Education, but they all have a Department of Interior. Our federal Department of Interior is federal parks, national preserves, etc. Well, there are state parks, there's state preserves. And then we have those all the way down to the county level. There's county parks, there's county preserves. And
so the guys up on top there, I just want to say, you don't have to be quiet. You're being very quiet. I think GD's biting his tongue a little bit on something.
I'll way past the tongue. I'm actually down to down to the larynx.
Well, if you have something to input, please feel free to kind of put it in here. I would just say on this, there's a couple of things that jump out at me as far as where I would offer some pushback here is that it seems like you're putting a lot of power in one person, the governor of the state. It takes away the 2 senators putting all that power into one person. They not only have power over the state's vote in the Senate, but everything that happens in that state, the governor can definitely be. You're putting a lot of power into one human being, and knowing how frail human beings can be and how corruptible we all could be, I think that's always a dangerous thing. So that's the first part of it, and the second part is like what really gets with the vice president, the conflict of interest. So somebody is a state governor and a senator, but they're voting on federal law and state law at the same time. If that federal law impacts that state, that there does become it develops a conflict of interest in there in some way, right? Or not?
I think
if you're being honest, it is.
What?
If you're being honest, it is.
Oh, well, being honest, I'm not lying here.
No,
it does. But if you think that the U.S. senators are angels, boy, wow,
I didn't think
senators. No. You're talking about right now. You want to talk about bad? Okay, let's talk about the lobbyists in D.C. and what my amendment does. It kills them.
No, you don't have to sell me on that. We have lots of corrupt human beings in
right.
the Senate.
And this takes care of the DC lobbyists, because right now the DC lobbyists only have to influence 100 U.S. senators and 435 U.S. House representatives. This amendment comes about. The Senate reduces down to 5, but then gaining access to the governor is not easy. But then
actually, it would be just as easy because they're still human beings. I mean, a lobbyist is just
and a lobbyist in Washington D.C. can go from literally down hallways, door to door to door, and meet with senators and U.S. House
They were only set up that way because that's where the seat of power is. With the money that lobbyists have, it wouldn't be much of a stretch to go to 50.
I think it would be.
No,
you're talking about 50. They're not all centrally located in Washington D.C. for easy manipulation. They're spread to all the 50. They're spread to.
Okay. The whole premise of your thing is that this could be done by telecommuting and wiring and stuff like that. So you think, for some reason, you think lobbyists aren't smart enough to master the art of the telephone and the conference call?
Yes, they might, but just like when I have done 30 years of marketing. You want to make a big sale, you go there in person. You don't make big sales over the phone or video conferencing at all. That's why you have salespeople. So
You
if you want to
will, if
influence,
you, they will pick up your call if enough money is involved. So
right?
that's
But then you come with the U.S. House of Representatives, which go from 435 members to 5,542. Good luck with that.
All right.
Hope hope you have a shitload of money, because you're going to
well,
need a shitload of money for them to go, oh, you're offering
they
me
have a shitload of
$1,000.
money. That's the problem. That's just it. They do have a shitload of money, and it's so dark that we have no idea how much of a shitload it is. We'd have
Right.
to get rid of the dark money. We'd have to
But
get rid.
we're not.
Here's
That's never.
the problem. I don't see.
That's never going to happen. That's
I
never
don't.
going to happen.
Well,
It's
if we
just,
don't
the
get rid of
reality is,
dark
it's never
money,
going to happen.
if we don't get rid of the dark money, then the things that you're proposing
There's,
aren't going to get any more effective than
but
what
there's
we
no
have
way
now.
to get rid of the dark money. There's no way to get
There
rid of
is
it.
ways to get rid of the dark money.
There isn't. They've tried.
There is.
There
First
isn't.
of all, the first thing you do, if we establish, okay, because the way the Constitution was hopefully designed was that every generation we would address our Constitution and bring it up to date to,
Not really.
That
But
was
okay.
the founding fathers. The founding fathers wanted that to be that way. That was like in their letters. It may not have been in practice, but it was in their letters. It was in discussion that the Constitution was a living, breathing document, and it would be updated based on the
That's
needs
what-
of the nation. Okay,
And that's what
so,
they put into the amendment process.
right. So what the amendment would be to establish what personhood is, so that a company cannot be a person, a lobbying entity would not be a person. So therefore, they do not have, quote, freedom of speech, and money would no longer be considered speech. Speech would be speech, not money. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's how you get part of the way you get rid of the dark money, is that you just establish what personhood is. Money is no longer speech.
I think that goes
That's
goes
fair.
some distance toward that, but it doesn't get rid of dark
Yeah,
money.
it doesn't.
Well, it doesn't get rid of it.
It doesn't. Whatever you're going to propose, okay, they're going to find a way around it. Always has.
Whatever
Always
you
will.
propose, they won't.
No, my thing here makes lobbying difficult. It doesn't eliminate it. It does eliminate the DC lobbyists because they're not in DC anymore. So I weaken their power to influence just because they're not there. And lobbyists, if you go to Washington, D.C. and you see a U.S. Senator or a U.S. House Representative, they have some of the most expensive restaurants in the world. They're not picking up that tab. That's the lobbyists that sit next to them. Okay, right now it's very easy for lobbyists to lobby the U.S. Congress and the U.S. Senate because they're in one location. You've made a perfect environment.
Yeah, but and not to to be argumentative here, but the truth is, the influence comes in a deposit in your campaign. It's hidden in money. It's not necessarily in it's not the same as business where you need to go press the flesh. It's where where does the money come from?
If you take a look at what lobbyists are, they're former members of the U.S. Senate and former members of the U.S. House. That's why when they leave, they become lobbyists, and why they're lobbyists is just like PR. It's just like a PR firm. There's a reason why PR firms employ former reporters from magazines and former talent scouts, etc., from talk shows, is access. They can call up.
Lobbyists were not always former senators and so forth. That was an evolution. Okay, and that was an evolution to.
They've been lobbyists from the very beginning. You need to read the early history of as soon as they walked out, they were turned around and people were paying them to go back and talk to their former colleagues.
All right.
That's been the case of it. My amendment here, I deal with lobbyists in a way that I just take out giving them a centralized location where all the U.S. House Representatives and all the U.S. Senators are together for easy lobbying in person. Yep, they use money now. Will the money change? No. But they also have, I increase it. If you want to influence the U.S. House of Representatives, fine. Now they're not 435. They're 5,562, I think. Okay. Good luck influencing them. You got to have a lot more money to do that.
So you
You know,
but I don't see where the things you're proposing have solved or created any kind of solutions to anything. I mean, okay, yeah, it just, yeah.
but it does.